Are we right now, Guy?
Yep, ready to go now.
Right, thank you very much. Right, well, good evening all and welcome to the Standard Committee of the Wednesday the 10th of March 2021. I think I shall open with the welcoming of Councillor Balsamini, if that is, I think I shall call him Dan if he doesn't mind. Spare me getting my tongue around that name. Welcome, Dan.
That's Dan's absolutely fine. Thank you very much.
Good. Well, welcome to the Standards Committee.
Thank you.
Right, we shall start. Is it Anna or is it Guy that's going to clerk for us this evening? Anna, can we have?
Me, thank you, Chairman.
Right, item 1 is apologies for absence.
Yeah, we haven't got any apologies tonight, Chairman. And if you don't mind, I'll do a quick roll call.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you. So starting with yourself.
Yes,
you're
well,
obviously here.
Present is, yeah.
Councillor Mercer.
Here.
Councillor Metcalfe. I think she's just coming in. Councillor Soloway.
Yeah.
Councillor Whitaker.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we've got parish representatives Dan Balsamini.
Here.
Robert Stead. I don't think he's with us tonight. Independent persons John Bumphrey.
Present.
Thank you. Peter Charlesworth.
Yes, miss.
Thank you. And Roger Milling.
Present and correct.
We'll be the judge
Thank
of that.
you.
Right.
And I think we've now got Councillor Metcalfe.
Yes, I see Councillor Metcalfe present. Yeah. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Chairman.
Right, we will now move on to item 3, which is public participation. Do we have any for this evening?
We do. I believe, Chairman, we've got Councillor Jacquin to speak to the committee.
Thank you. Councillor Jack, welcome.
Got you. Eric Jacquin, Skipton Town Councillor. I'd like to update this committee on electoral irregularities at the May 2019 election for Skipton Town Council. During the national lockdown in spring 2020, 3 town councillors each received an anonymous printed notification that some of the independent RPOS forms at May elections were not signed legally. The councillors notified the CDC election team, CDC's monitoring officer and North Yorkshire Police. The latter examined evidence but were unable to conclude their investigations, as it was then over 12 months after the election date of the 2nd of May 2019. North Yorkshire Police suggested an internal inquiry to establish all the facts surrounding this issue. This was agreed by the Town Council at their full meeting on the 13th of August 2020, and their Audit and Scrutiny Committee were given the task of completing this work and reporting back to the Town Council at the annual meeting on the 15th of October. Subsequently, I was advised that the above inquiry was not the correct course of action, which should have been referral to this District Council Standard Committee. The Town Council report made 11 specific recommendations to full council on the 14th of January 2021, which will help to improve procedures within the Town Council. However, I wish to draw your attention to the fact that the Town Council inquiry did not establish all the facts, as it did not interview any town councillors. Whilst the police action was timed out, I feel an opportunity was missed to interview councillors, candidates or other parties in an attempt to identify and censure person or persons who allegedly falsified signatures and misled candidates. One councillor was so concerned about the way he'd been misled that he referred himself to the Electoral Commission. Nomination forms, which provided evidence, have had to be destroyed by law, but there still exist witness statements and emails from the police with their findings. A CDC investigation bystanders committee could highlight the need for improved procedures, as at present there appears to be no way in which the council can ensure that signatures on nomination forms are genuine. On receiving the papers for this meeting, I learned that Standards Committee has no involvement with electoral matters. And if a complaint is made, it can't be considered until 90 days after, just a minute, I've lost the chance to read, but as the committee is tasked with upholding standards in local government public life, I would have hoped that the Standards Committee, got it back. Committee is tasked with upholding standards in local government public life. I and other councillors feel very strongly that this matter should not be swept under the carpet. I've since learned that some of the information I've presented tonight is incorrect and hope the chairman can clarify. Thank you, members.
Thank you for your statement, Councillor Chaplin. You are correct that Standards Committee have no remit whatsoever in the electoral side of things within the council or town council. So I would refer you to the monitoring officer, who is Mr. Shevlin, the Chief Executive, and take it up with him, as we do not have any remit whatsoever. Thank you very much for raising the issue.
Thank you for the information. I feel that the Chief Exec and Returning Officer has a lot more things on his agenda, higher priority than this. But
that unfortunately is where this lays. It lies with the Returning Officer, and if there's been fraud, it lies with the police, not with this committee. So I refer you with your complaint to the monitoring officer.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Is there any further public questions, Anna? No? Right, thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you. We shall move on now to item 4, which is declaration of interests. Any member wishing to declare an interest on tonight's agenda? No, I don't see anyone indicating.
Chair?
Thank you. Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Before we move on to agenda item 5, could we just go back to agenda item 2, confirmation of the minutes from the last meeting, please?
Oh, did I miss those? I am in early this evening, aren't I? Can we confirm the correctness of the minutes of the last meeting on the 4th of November 2020? Can I sign those as a correct record?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I do apologise for that. Right, item 5, members. This is members' code of conduct. Annette, can I get you to present this report, please?
Yes, of course, Chair. Good evening, members. You may remember from the progress reports, which I presented to the last meeting, that 2 best practice recommendations from the Committee on Standards in Public Life report on local government ethical standards were outstanding. The draft revised members' code of conduct, which is attached as Appendix A to your papers, incorporates those recommendations. We do still need to add definitions and examples for the updated member obligations numbered 2 and 3. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to read the additional information which I circulated yesterday, and that sets out the definitions with some examples. The chair's also suggested a sentence to add to the definitions paragraph, which sits underneath the member obligation relating to bullying and harassing, and I'll read that to you now. Bullying can affect mental, physical, and emotional health. It can lead to physical injuries, social or emotional problems, and in some cases, even death. Members, we need to fit the definitions and examples into the code of conduct, and there are probably a number of ways to do that. But in order to give them maximum effect, I'm going to propose that we incorporate them into the body of the code of conduct as I've set them out in the additional information, rather than forming them as a footnote or an additional appendix. As I also say in the report, I've taken the opportunity to carry out a light touch review, and I've included a new obligation to promote equalities and not discriminate against any person. I've also removed any reference to gender, and it's my intention to take this approach with all documents that I present to the committee in the future. Hopefully I've covered everything that's in the report, Chair, but I'm happy to take questions as always.
Thank you very much for that, Annette. Right, any questions, members? Right, well, first of all, I welcome the equality input into the code of conduct. I think that is important. And I think by putting the bullet point on harassment, etc., within the body, I think that's better than having it in an appendix. It sits better in there. Members, views, please. No, everyone must be satisfied with that. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for that report, Lynette. They all seem to be very happy.
I think Councillor Soloway's got his hand raised, Chair.
Oh, so yeah, it's up in the top corner there. Yeah. Andy. Councillor Soloway.
Sorry, Chairman, I raised it a bit sharpish then. I just wanted to come in and thank Annette for doing this. And I always find this very helpful, particularly when, as a group leader, because you are managing different personalities and different interpretations of things in the human condition that you get in any political group, or group of councillors across the council even. So I welcome this. I also, as a one-time equalities champion all those years ago on the council, welcome the commitment to equalities. I think it was a really good move that the council put equalities impact statements on all relevant reports, and I fully support this. I think it's a very thorough document, and we need to adhere to it, and we need to follow it, and we need to read it.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Soloway. Councillor Metcalfe, would you like to comment on the equality side of it? I know you've asked for training within the council on that. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Thank you, Chairman. The only thing I'd like to say is that with training is underway and it's going to be incorporated into the induction as well. So I think it just backs up basically the work that has already, the work that's actually in front of us. So it just makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Metcalfe. Right, I don't see anyone else indicating. I don't think I missed anyone this time. So we shall now move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 6, Officer Code of Conduct. Okay, Annette, would you like to present your report, please?
Yes, of course, Chair. The work programme for the committee for the year includes reviewing the Officer Code of Conduct. I've attached the current version at Appendix 1. The current version was last reviewed in 2015. The eagle-eyed of you may have spotted there was a typo at paragraph 3.3. It wasn't 2105, it was reviewed. That's what happens when I do my own typing, I'm afraid. So it was last reviewed in 2015. Those of you who were on the committee at the time may remember it was an extensive review. Significant sections of the code were rewritten. And it's, in my view, it's a well-embedded, well-used code across the council. And I think I say in the report that it's certainly improved reporting and transparency in terms of officers' interests within the council. You'll have noted at paragraph 3.4 that in advance of the meeting today, I've consulted with colleagues in both the corporate leadership team and the senior leadership team. And unusually, all responses were positive, and I've put a couple of them in the report for you to have a read at. So other than making the document gender neutral, I'm not proposing any changes. I think it's working well, and with local government reorganisation on the horizon, to implement a new code of conduct and embed it in the organisation will take some time. And I think that this one's working well, but it's obviously a matter for the committee. If there are sections in it that you want to look at us reviewing, then obviously I'm very happy to do that. We will, if we do make some changes, we will need to consult with officers across the council and also the unions. Thank you, Chair. Obviously happy to take questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jan. Yes, it is good to see the comments that you put in from members of staff, especially the one which says that this ranks amongst the best of the officers' codes that they've seen. That is really makes it all worthwhile, that work that's been done by members and officers in putting this together. And I would agree, especially with the local government review round the corner, that this seems to be working well. I would like to hear any comments from members, please, if any. No hands gone up. Yeah. What about our independent persons? Do they agree that we leave this because it would appear to be working well, especially?
Yes, I think it's important where you have a document like this that does appear to be working well, that you don't mess with it just for the sake of messing with it. People develop working practices according to documents over a period of time, and they become embedded. If you change things for change's sake, then they get amendments to it. They start to be concerned which version they're working on at a particular time, and it dilutes the effect of it. If you have documents that work well, my view is that you should use them for as long as they aren't becoming stale. If they become stale, then you develop them. But at the moment, if it's working well, everyone's happy with it. Let's not mess with it.
Roger. You're muted, Roger.
Sorry.
That's it.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, in my opinion. I think it's fine.
Yeah, thank you. Peter, did you indicate? Again, you're muted, Peter. I think he's gone for technical help.
Peter,
Got
if
it.
you hold,
Now you've got it, Peter. Thank you.
Am I in now? So
You are.
thank you. All by myself. I was just what I said was I entirely agree with everything that John said. I wouldn't change anything. I think it's working perfectly well, and we should stick with it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think I agree that if we should constantly look at things, but if they're working well, just because we look at them doesn't mean we should be changing them just for changing's sake. So I would like to thank Annette for all the work, and I'm sure Anna would have some input into this as well. So thank you both. Thank you.
Councillor Ireton, Councillor Metcalfe has her hand raised.
Right. Top corner, I'm going to have to thank you, Councillor Metcalfe.
Yeah, I think the one
Yeah, the bottom
thing,
corner now.
I'd like to just to confirm. Sorry, confirm is that the officer's code of conduct is that with personal reviews. I think that's really, that it is all. I don't know if you're best to confirm that.
You broke up quite a bit there, Councillor Metcalfe. I'm sorry. I don't know whether other members got the drift of it.
No.
I think she was asking if the officer's code of conduct was in line with employee reviews, I think.
I shall go to Annette to answer that.
Thank you, Chair. It doesn't form part of the performance development review, which happens annually. It's part of the induction process, and annually I will contact all the service managers and ask them to remind all their teams and colleagues about the requirement to register interests, gifts and hospitalities. So at least annually, I expect service managers to remind all their teams about their obligations under the Code of Conduct.
Are you happy with that, Councillor Metcalfe, that response? Were you happy with the response, Councillor Metcalfe? Yeah. I think she's nodding yes. So, right, so with that, I don't see any more hands up. So we shall accept that report and move on to item 7, which is parish representatives. Annette, could we have an update on this, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. It was, you may remember at the last meeting, there was quite a lengthy debate about the number of parish representatives on the committee, and the decision was to continue with 4. So it was to report to the meeting that I finally got round to contacting all the parish and town councils within the district, inviting nominations. The timetable was attached to my report. It's going to be purely electronic this time, so all nominations will need to be sent to me by email by the 6th of April at 12 noon. And if there are more nominations than seats, we will run an election in the usual way, and I will of course keep the committee updated.
Right. So, we do have the time scale within our documents, members. I think it's important that if we're successful in filling these parish representatives, that when it comes to full council, normally it would be for a 4-year period, wouldn't it? So I think we need to watch with the government reorganisation 4-year or before, so that we get that just, I think. Any questions on that, members? Councillor Mercer.
Pauline are actually up for election in May, so I don't see any volunteers being nominated on the 6th of April. If all seats are not taken, I am strongly encouraging my parish council to get on board. And good. So there are some new nominations coming in who are very keen. Would they be able to be co-opted on if there is a space?
Annette, I would have thought so, but I shall pass you over to Annette to answer that. We must keep legal.
The process will be, if we don't get sufficient nominations this time, I will immediately go out, given that we do have parish elections in May. And so any new parish or town councillors will be able to put themselves forward at that time.
How many parishes are up for election then?
That's a trick question. 9 or 10. I haven't got my elections.
Right. Yeah. So it's not massive as far as the parish is concerned. Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, if there was a big percentage of parishes up for election, whether we ought to extend that nomination. But I think if there's only 9 or 10 within the district, I think we can carry on and run with it. Views on that, members, please? Do we agree that? Yeah. Everyone's nodding, so we'll wait and see and hope we get some.
Councillor Soloway, Chair, has got...
All right, yeah.
Sorry, I'm using the raised hand function following the online meetings protocols. I've let Skipton Town Council know that this process is ongoing, and I'm aware that Louise Close, the new clerk, is looking into it as well. So whether Skipton Town Council put anybody up, I have no idea whether anyone will turn up. But I have done my role like Councillor Mercer has.
Thank you for that, Councillor Soloway. Yeah. Right, no further question, members? Right, thank you. We will now move on to item 8, which is the monitoring report. It looks as though you've found quite a new pot of ink in it. Yeah. Was looking pretty sparse at one point, but it's certainly filling up, isn't it?
Yes, it's been a little busy.
Keep the independent persons in work, won't it, eh?
Yes, indeed. So it's the usual progress report. It's self-explanatory. It has been busy, but there's actually 2 of those that are ongoing. So the 2 complaints which have the reference 03 and 06, they're currently being investigated by an external investigator. He did provide me with an update report at the end of last week, and both investigations are waiting for additional information from third parties. One's a third party and one's a government organisation. The investigator is chasing that information regularly, but obviously until that's been provided, they're not able to finalise their draft investigation report. But I would certainly hope by the next meeting they will be concluded, and it may well be that we've had to convene a meeting of the hearings panel to deal with those anyway in the interim. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the monitoring report, members? No? Right, thank you very much. Right, we now move to item 9, which is any other business. I think at this point, 2 of our independent persons, and I think one of our parish reps is up for the time up before year. I think outside the meeting with local government reorganisation, and we don't know what's going to be in 12 months' time, I think perhaps out of the meeting, if Annette could speak with the 2 independent persons and the parish rep to see whether they would consider extending that, but that is something that we'll take up outside the meeting, because we're possibly looking at 12 months, are we? 15 months. What's the time scale for the organisation?
Well, the new organisation will be up and running by the 1st of April 2023, but it will obviously depend in terms of standards and independent persons which proposal is adopted, if any, of course, and whether there's an agreement to merge independent persons across the new geographical area. So I would certainly be looking to speak to those concerned for extending for at least 12 months, possibly 18 months.
Anyhow, I say that will, members, that will be taken up outside this meeting. I would like to take this opportunity, though, of thanking both John and Peter for all the work that they've done for the authority, and certainly in standards work that they've done in case they decide that they have other interests in life. And this may be the opportunity. I do hope we will consider, but I also understand that people have other things to do.
May I just say, David, thank you very much indeed for the invitation you gave to me 4 years ago. I've thoroughly enjoyed being on the Standards Committee and found it very interesting, and I enjoyed meeting your colleagues. And I'd just like to say thank you very much, and how much I've enjoyed being with you.
Good, I'm pleased about that, Peter. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and I say it is important that we have people like yourselves, you 3 independent people. Yeah,
I've had 1 or 2 interesting cases, but I'm bound to say I've no cases, as it were, in my tray at the moment. So it's not as if I'm leaving anybody high and dry.
No. Anyhow, I say there will be a conversation outside the meeting. But as I say, thank you to both of you and to the parish rep, Roger, isn't it? Right, I've no further business, members. Thank you for attending, and I shall close the meeting at 19:05. My new glasses.